Slater and Marjo in the morning on Live 95.9.
It's the 25th of October. Coming up, November 7th, a big election in the city of Pittsfield. North Adams. It's just election day in general, actually.
Correct.
So people always, God, the presidential election is the most important thing. Who's going to be president? People, we need to get them more involved in local politics, which actually directly can affect them.
Yeah, it really fascinates me that people aren't more involved with local, city politics and stuff because, yeah, of course the president, has an effect on your life, but the things that directly affect you, your everyday living here in the city of Pittsfield is your Pittsfield City Council.
Right, if you live in Pittsfield, right? Exactly.
Right. Correct.
Right, Helen?
Yeah, am I supposed to jump in here?
Yes. Go ahead.
Please.
It's a free-for-all around here.
It is a free-for-all, yeah.
All right, so the current city councilor for Ward 1 is Lisa Tully, and she has decided not to run.
That's correct.
For re-election. She is the lamest of the ducks right now.
No, doesn't somebody else have to get elected for her to be a lame duck? Like, doesn't the lame duck start after the new person's been elected, but before they actually take office? Am I totally wrong on this?
Maybe. Yeah, you know what?
I'm just making things up.
I think you're right there. But Helen Moon is with us, and welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Welcome to our little fly by the seat of our pants radio program. So what made you put your name in the hat? I know you're a resident of Ward 1, and you want to do this. So tell us why.
I do want to do this. So I moved to the Berkshires about 10 years ago. I went to nursing school, and I graduated with your wife.
You did?
I did, yep.
Far out.
And while I was in nursing school, I lived and I worked downtown. And it was pretty amazing to see Pittsfield transform. It was a little depressing when I first moved here. I lived right on North Street, and there wasn't much going on. And my friends and I went to the one bar that on North Street, Mission. And we were always there, and there was nowhere else to go on North Street, and so. It was really nice to see it transform. What I see with Pittsfield though is that it is, it's got a lot of really amazing qualities to it. I think I chose to move here and live here because I love the nature. I love the hiking and the biking and the canoeing, and I love the arts community and the music that's happening. And I loved. The food here, it's pretty amazing. So,
like what in particular?
The food?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Favorite restaurants, favorite food choices?
My favorite restaurants, I probably have go-to restaurants in every town, So in Lenox, I love Noodle. That's my favorite restaurant.
Where's that?
Lenox.
So the building that's past the Heritage.
Yeah.
Do you know where Betty's is? It's in
Yes.
It's in the same building as Betty's.
Oh. All right.
Yeah. So Bjorn does amazing small plates, and in Williamstown, I go to Meze.
Delicious.
Yeah. In North Adams, I go to Public. In South County, in Great Barrington, I love Prairie on the Whale. So there are like these really cool restaurants that are world class, I think. And they're right here. And you drive 30 minutes in any direction, and you can find an amazing restaurant.
Yep.
Well, Helen, we have to know, since you're running for Pittsfield City Council, and pressure's on, you got to tell us your favorite restaurant in Pittsfield.
Oh, there's so many restaurants I go to in Pittsfield. Honestly,
I believe you.
Yeah. If I want a nice cocktail, I go to Methuselah. If I want to sit at a great bar, I love Hotel on North.
Yeah, great bar.
Love the Hotel on North.
Yeah.
Just had oysters the other night. Thank you.
Have you tried the pork chop?
I have tried. It's George's favorite.
Yeah, the pork chop there
George's favorite.
is delicious.
It's amazing. Yeah. And if I want something a little bit more laid back, I like to go to Vong's. I like to go to, what is that place on Tyler? The name is blanking.
La Fogata.
La Fogata. I love La Fogata. Yeah.
So good.
So I think that there are these great places and the birth of a lot of these restaurants happened in my time living downtown. And it was really cool to be able to walk out of my apartment and walk to a nice bar and be able to walk home.
Yes, totally. I'm a transplant as well. I've been here, it'll be 7 years this month. So, I mean, I remember I saw the transformation as well. It was well on its way when I moved here, though. But
yeah.
I mean, all I hear is that in the mid-2000s, it was very depressing here.
I hear that it was really depressing. I saw kind of the tail end of that.
Yeah.
And I actually heard a lot of it. When I talk to people, they tell me, GE left and we need GE back.
Right.
I thought for the longest time, that GE left like in 2005 or something.
Right. And it was like 1989.
Yeah.
It was a long time ago.
It's a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, but I was like, they just left.
Right.
That's the vibe you get,
Yes.
know? And
people are still bitter about it, I think, to be honest with you.
But Jeff Bezos did call me, and Amazon is coming here
Oh, yeah?
to the William Stanley Business Park, and 50,000 jobs, and we're going to be okay.
Fake news.
oh boy.
Just kidding.
But that would be very exciting.
He did
for
say
sure.
we're last on the list.
Helen, you must be excited because part of your ward encompasses half of Tyler Street, talking about the revitalization of downtown and North Street, with everything that's going on with the Tyler Street initiative. You must be really excited about that.
I love seeing that. I loved seeing Better Block with TDI happening. I think that it's a great way to utilize state grant money to revitalize an economic area, So there are, like we were saying, La Fogata, and there's the new Puerto Rican restaurant.
Romano's,
yeah. They're really key businesses on Tyler Street that I think that if they were surrounded by better atmosphere, more people would go to them.
Totally.
So we want to make that area more walkable, more accessible to people. And it's exciting to see because I did see that transformation on North Street.
Yes. Mayor Tyre and I always talk about blight and how important, that is to be removed, if you financially have the means, because it really does change the perception. Like you said, North Street, when I was driving here, literally, when I was dating Georgia, I would drive through, up Route 7, and I would see North Street, and I was like, wow, this is really cool, man. I could totally live here. And it was because of the Beacon Cinema and just all the...
And it's only gotten better.
Yeah.
I think every year it improves.
And it was like, this one will pop up, this one, and then lighting, then they did that streetscape, and the new lighting. It just looks fantastic.
Yeah, well, you know what I think is the most amazing about it is when a lot of these places open, there's so many naysayers, and they say, there's not enough people here, there's not enough business here to make it worth it. And these places open and they do incredibly well because I think our generation of people are looking for places to go and things to do and a community that supports us. So having one bar on the street 10 years ago that only serves beer is not going to cut it for young people.
Right. And that's all we talk about, Mission. Right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just beer and wine, yeah.
Which I love Mission, by the way. So
of course, it's a staple. Yeah, Mission's excellent.
I do.
But we talk so much about trying to bring new life to this area and trying to bring young people to the area. I'm sorry, at the end of the day, young people want to live somewhere that has a vibrant nightlife.
Right.
It might not be important to some voters, but I mean, all those things affect somebody's choice where they're going to live, especially when you have a place like Northampton, which is, close and still in the same area. We have to compete with that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the questions that I get all the time is, how am I going to lower taxes? It's hard to do because since GE left, we've lost 25,000 people, 20,000 plus, so 20 to 25,000 people. And our taxes go up because inflation happens, so every year there's inflation of about 3%. If costs of services and all the fees that are attached to these services continue to rise and there's less people paying into those services, then the people that are left pay more, right? So my answer is, well, what I would like to see happen is I'd like to see more people move here. I don't want you to not be able to get your pothole filled because that's really important. But we also can't afford a lot of the services that you're asking for. And you want your taxes lowered. It's,
that's what kills me.
It's kind of, it's a hard balance. So if we had more people living here, if we had more people paying into the tax pool, then our taxes would lower naturally, so... there are actually, and it's a perception thing. There are jobs here. There's not as many jobs as what GE once provided, but there are jobs here. So that's a perception thing. And General Dynamics, I hear this all the time, has 140 open engineering jobs, but we can't fill them because who's going to work there? Young engineers. And do they want to live in Berkshire County? Do they want to live in Pittsfield? Usually the answer is no. So I think that we need...
What do you think the main reason is, though, that they don't want to live here?
So I used to work at Dottie's on North Street.
Yeah.
So while I was going to nursing school, I managed the cafe on North Street. And I actually saw every few years a round of engineers coming in.
Yeah.
So I met... 3 in particular stick out to me because they moved here. They were so young. They were working at General Dynamics. They would come in and get the peanut butter latte, which I think is gross. But they love the peanut butter latte. And by the time I was leaving Dottie's, they were also leaving Berkshire County. They didn't want to stay because it was their first jobs out of engineering school.
Yes.
And it was kind of the stepping stone, and they could not imagine their life here. They want to go to bigger cities, and I think that there's always going to be those people. There's going to be people that want to live in New York City, and we will never be New York City.
Of course not, right.
But I think that we can provide a downtown life, a city-like life, but also have the amazing outdoors that we have, the amazing food that we have, the amazing arts and cultures that we have, world-class in certain circumstances. Like Jacob's Pillow is a world-class institution in the Berkshires. So if young people are like myself or like you, see all the other good that Berkshire County offers, I think that is something that we should work to, endorse and propose. I don't know what the word is for that.
When I first moved here, I was 30, right? Yeah, 30. Right now, 37. I think, I liked the laid back. I'm from, Boston, the suburb, the North Shore of Boston, where when I go back today.
Sorry, I got a text. I have to mention House of India as one of my because they know me by name, and whenever I call them, they're like, Helen, you order so much food, so I have to name them.
House of India, yes, we love House of India. So, I was ready for that more relaxed pace.
Yeah,
so I can see where this desire, when you grow up here, you want to go. Bye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
especially at that fresh out of college age. I definitely had that mentality. And now at 33, I really appreciate living in Berkshire County, which I don't think I did until I was probably in my late 20s, early 30s.
I mean, just the fact that you could come here and golf with 18 holes with a cart for $35. I mean, that is unheard of in Boston area.
Yep.
Traffic.
Cost of living compared to living in, let's just compare it to Boston here. It's...
You can go up to the state forest. You can go on any lake you want. You can eat great food. You can see great shows. You don't have to sit in traffic.
We talk about this all the time. Berkshire County is what you make it. If you want to be miserable and say this place sucks, then you're going to be miserable. Right. But if you actually open your eyes and see all these great things that we have to offer.
I mean, if you're single... It's kind of rough.
I don't think so. I don't agree with that statement. I mean, I have a great group of friends and, a pretty, knock on wood, a pretty great social life for somebody who has to get up so early. But I think it is what you make it. I think if you go out if I was to go out to, say, Methuselah and grab a drink and I met somebody who was thinking about moving to Pittsfield or was, temporarily had signed a 3-year contract at GD, like I would want to tell them all the great things we want to be inclusive of people. So I don't think so. I think
You don't think being single in this area is tough?
I think being single, it's all dependent on.
Yeah, no, I think it's tough.
Really?
But even if cities are big, like in New York City, your community within that city is still small. Because you still have your group of friends in New York City that you probably always hang around with. The opportunity to meet somebody new, however, is much broader in New York City.
That is definitely true.
I feel like there should be some sort of dating app in Pittsfield geared towards because there's a lot of single residents that swing through BMC. And there's a lot of young engineers that come through. And I feel like there should be a dating app to kind of say, hey, these are the single people at BMC.
That's not Tinder?
Well, Tinder's a little interesting.
Yeah.
Like I'm good looking. I'm making I make a little bit of money. I work at BMC, and
Oh, I thought you were actually referring to yourself. I was very confused.
God,
I was like,
no.
these things are all not true statements.
Okay, we got to go to break, though. We'll be right back. We'll do another segment with Helen Moon, running for Ward 1 City Council. Okay, we'll be right back. Berkshire County City Music.
El Cabello in Havana.
I love that song.
Huh? Yes?
I love that song. I think it's really good pop music.
I think it's a good song. What do you think? Helen Moon hates this radio station.
Yeah, she doesn't listen to us at all.
She said the station
She likes
sucks.
Alan Chartock way better than...
She's like, where's Alan Chartock? Where's Brian Shields?
Oh,
NPR.
I actually do not listen to Alan Chartock most of the time.
Right.
Yeah.
I
But
think some people might agree with you.
He's a big fan of Slater Marjo.
Oh, yeah.
He's always trying to FaceTime me. That was a good idea.
Yeah. Whenever Slater's gone, he's like, Marjo, can I please come in and co-host? I'm like, sorry.
yeah. But I do admit I do not listen to the radio very often. So I have no idea what the latest hits are or...
Sorry, we applaud your honesty. It's okay.
Right. That's what the world needs more of.
Yeah.
A city councilor who's not going to hold back. Ward 1, Helen Moon, everybody. Well, I think you might listen to the radio show more now. That's she's like, yeah.
Yes, I will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sincere.
Anyway, we're talking about living in Berkshire County and how perceptually sometimes it's challenging, but I can't say enough how much I love living here. I mean, dude, I grew up in Lynn, lived in Melrose for a little while, Wakefield, Dorchester. Every time I lived on Dorchester Ave, me and Mary McCarthy, and she was my landlord. And every time I go back there, man, they're throwing up another apartment complex, another condo complex. I mean, they're booming in Boston. And the traffic, the amount of cars on the road, dude.
No, it's wild.
The amount of billboards that are just, everything's just like one big, everything's in my face, you know what I mean? I come back here and I'm like,
Yeah.
a little relaxation, you know?
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I lived in Boston for about 8 years, and I thought I loved living in the city. I wanted to move to a bigger city. I wanted to do the whole New York thing in my 20s, and instead of moving to New York because I couldn't afford it, I moved to the Berkshires, and
Move to the Howard Building, Anota Building.
yeah, well, those are beautiful apartments.
Gorgeous buildings.
Yeah. And
What would Councilor Kroll call those?
John told me that it would be perfect for me because it's market rate housing.
Market rate, that's
they're
what it
market
is,
rate
right.
housing.
But if you're a single person,
Of course they're not market rate housing. Yeah.
that's depending on
$1,200.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be perfectly honest. On my salary, I wouldn't be able to afford living there by myself.
Yeah.
But if you are a young couple, it's extremely doable. Or if you want to have a roommate, it's extremely doable.
It is, yes. And they're in their night. I mean,
I would love to live downtown. I love North Street. I
course.
love downtown. That's where I want to go out.
Absolutely.
That's where I work. That's where I go to the gym. I love that part of the city.
Yeah, me too. I'd like to run as much as possible on North Street too, because. But anyway, go ahead. It's not.
Is this why you were confused as to when we were pulling out of Summer Street, which direction the Y was?
Yeah, those little side streets. I'm always like,
It's like, am I making a left or right? Or Depot Street. We're pulling out Depot Street. It's like, am I making a left or a right? I'm like, seriously?
I'm like, Stephen Valenti's, do I take a left or a right? Damn it, I took a right. Yeah, now I got to circle back and,
Anyways.
break the law, cross the WL line. Yes.
You're having big city problems on North Street.
Yeah, really. So, what do you think is the most challenging thing about Ward 1? Or and what do you think it needs more of, or,
Or
is it just more of a collective effort for you in terms of being a counselor? Like the city in general?
I would say that when I knock on doors, every neighborhood has a separate issue. So if I knock on one door and they tell me that they have drainage problems, there's not a proper sewer system on the street, and their basement floods all the time. If on that street, the next 4 or 5 houses will say the same thing. So there are pockets of isolated incidences that the ward counselor can help facilitate to solve. But on a larger Ward 1 scale, and I think on a Pittsfield scale, Morningside is our poorest neighborhood, so we have the highest concentration of people living under the poverty line in Morningside. And that on Tyler Street, on those side neighborhoods, I think they deal with a lot of quality of life issues. So I would like to see Morningside succeed. And I think that if Morningside is succeeding, I honestly think that that's good news for all of Pittsfield,
Right. Like Cheshire Road, people on Cheshire Road up that area near Berkshire Gas, I think they're all set. They don't really need you.
I think
the biggest issue with them is they have a stink bug problem.
They actually complain about speeding. They're speeding on streets, which...
We just had Officer Clinton here. I know. No, seriously, people drive too fast. They do. I'm one of them. I'm serious. I got stopped doing 52 on Pax Road, and I got to be honest with you, I've slowed down.
I think it's funny that people get pulled over close to their homes where they're more apt to complain about speeding, but they're the ones who are
the liquor store was closing, so no, I'm kidding. But seriously, people, they definitely drive too fast.
Yeah, I mean, no neighborhood is without problems, so either infrastructure with the streets and potholes, or building maintenance, or neighbors that don't maintain their properties. And speeding on streets is a huge one. And those are all issues that I want to work on as a city councilor. I also believe really that those small incidences, those pockets of isolated problems, add to a bigger picture of the quality of life. We want to promote a good quality of life that has a great perception so that people move here.
Yeah.
But on the larger Pittsfield scale, it always goes back to taxes. How do we make it more affordable how do we make it lively for young people to move here while not burdening our senior citizens who live on fixed incomes? That's the dilemma that is Pittsfield city politics.
Helen Moon, candidate for Ward 1 City Councilor.
Extreme professionalism. Or wrong candidate counselor.
Who's your favorite on the council?
Oh, I can't do that.
Yes, you can.
We
ask everybody these questions.
Who would you like to slap right in the face?
No,
All right. Are you going to tweet?
Am I going to tweet?
Do you have a Twitter? We can,
I do have a Twitter. I actually, I tweet from City Council every time I'm there. I usually do I have hashtags. If you're following my campaign, I have hashtags.
Right.
My door knocking experiences are candidate stories, because some of them are really ridiculous.
Like the requests that they make?
Just what I may or may not encounter, what they may or may not be wearing.
Nice.
Really?
Well, hey, you go knocking on somebody's door on a Saturday morning. Who knows what's going on?
How old were the people that weren't?
It runs the gamut. It does not matter.
You're like, hello, sir. Can you put on some pants?
There is no age discrimination with clothing.
So you are shocked by what people will open up the door in attire-wise?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it's what they say. Sometimes it's just,
What do they say?
that I fell on my face on Tyler the other day. Sometimes it's just...
Oh, I see.
It's just my ongoing experiences of knocking on doors. And I don't think in any moment in my life have I experienced anything like this. So...
we should make this a segment,
Yeah.
Like Slater Marjo will go walking around with city councilors and
We'll follow you around and
it'll be like jaywalking.
Facebook Live you.
Yes.
I actually, because of how often people complain about jaywalkers, the other day on North Street, I made it a point to go to the crosswalk and waited for the crosswalk. And I have to say this, and he's probably going to kill me later, but I was sitting in Dottie's, and wouldn't you know, Senator Adam Hines jaywalks across the street to come to Dottie's. And I was like, come on, Adam, come on.
And he was texting the whole time. He was walking and texting the whole time.
Use the crosswalk.
And he's totally recognizable, that bald head.
He's totally recognizable. He's going to kill me. Sorry, Adam. I had to put it out there.
Helen Moon, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
I'm going to go drink coffee.
Ward 1, city councilor.
Go out and vote, people.
Candidate. All right,
Tuesday,
coming up on
November 7th.
November 7th. All right, 9:54. Cloudy today, 61.